Introduction. June 24th, 2012. 6:17. Document FAF 1147. Briefing from General Adams. On June 8th, 2002, a number of files were uncovered, detailing a series of experiments by the Axis powers to manufacture the ultimate weapon. According to a briefing resting loosely on top of the filing cabinet in which the aforementioned files were uncovered. Update 12/2/2005. By order of General Jensen, all location names are to be completely removed from all copies of this document, including any internally distributed copies. All team members involved in the execution of Operation Ritter are to be under the guard of no fewer than 4 armed security personnel at all times. Hoping to gain an edge in the war, Axis powers set up a laboratory in the remote region. There, they commenced research on what was to be the ultimate weapon. In the building where the files were recovered, 5 skeletons were discovered, each twisted into a gruesome position, and each missing at least 1 limb. 2 wore the remnant of guards, while 2 were clothed in garb of prisoners. The last was clad in a lab coat, a scientist. The 2 dressed as prisoners were extremely curious. One bore the marks of high-level radiation exposure, and one of our Geiger counters revealed high levels of radiation within several feet of the skeleton. The other appears to have been a very large human being, approximately 11 feet tall. Examination of the bone is underway, but at first glance the bone appears thicker than average human bone. I have here the aforementioned files, and leave you to judge for yourselves what has transpired. The files. An unusually short briefing resting atop the filing cabinet in which the other files were discovered. It reads as follows. January 3rd, 1944, 17:06. Briefing from Colonel Ritter. Greetings. The laboratory has been established for the purpose of researching the ultimate weapon to defeat the Allies and establish the superiority of the fatherland. Your research duties will include caring for these 3 test subjects, who are prisoners of war and of no other value to us. You are free to test any weapon design you may come upon with them. At least 5 armed guards are to be stationed around the laboratory at any given time. Colonel Klaus Ritter. The briefing shows that official research was indeed conducted in the lab, and that Colonel Ritter authorized it. It also reveals that 5 armed guards and 3 subjects were present. 3 of the guards and 1 of the subjects were among those that vanished from the laboratory. A note found atop the briefing, written in haste. According to the 3 surviving researchers, they've been slowly transforming since late March, but they never knew it would escalate to this. I have distracted it from the others to give them time to escape, sealing my own fate. Most of the deceased are marked by blast marks on the floor where they died, pardoning the other 2 test subjects and 2 guards, and a researcher killed in crossfire. I told the others to meet me under this window, so I could jump into the vehicle. But I hear a pounding on the door now. By the time I unlatch the window, it will be here. I'd like to say goodbye to my family before it gets a hold of me. Signed, Klaus Ritter. The last words end in a mark, as if the pen was dragged across it. We were unable to verify that the signature is that of Klaus Ritter, which appears likely, but as such, we must assume that it is, until further evidence can be procured. Until we can find out for sure, investigation is still classified as unfinished. Addendum. The name covered by the blood splatter may well be Subject C. There is no other name that could fit there. A document found at the very top of the stack of papers inside of the filing cabinet. It details several different versions of an ultimate weapon. The scientists have formulated 3 different versions of this ultimate weapon we have been asked to research. They are as follows. A beam of particulate matter of some sort, Subject A. An artificial super soldier, Subject B. A potent, contagious living fluid or virus, Subject C. The 12 scientists we have been divided into 3 groups of 4 to study their individual topics. Signed, blank, head of the research department. Due to potential protocol violation, only select members of the investigation are to be given access to the name of the researcher, as it has been discovered that he has a living descendant who is currently being tracked down. A manila folder containing 3 stapled bundles of paper, each detailing the research and experiments of the 3 aforementioned groups of scientists. The research itself has been contained in the event that one may attempt to replicate the results, but the results and experiments are as follows. The particulate matter beam turned out to be, although the scientists were not entirely aware of it, a beam of gamma rays emitted by the substance they were using as an energy core. The carefully constructed mechanisms on the device failed to harness the energy of the radioactive substance, and after repeated tests on Subject A, who showed no immediate symptoms, the project was scrapped approximately 1/3 of the way into the lab's lifespan. Each test consisted of a 10-second firing of the beam at Subject A. Subject A was said to become extremely weak and easily sickened after the experiment stopped, and his condition apparently persisted until the time of his death. The super soldier idea yielded better results than the particulate matter beam. Had they survived, the discoveries of these scientists could have greatly benefited humankind. As it is, much of the research has been lost to the actual creation of the super soldier. Subject B was the test subject in which these experiments were performed. After repeated surgeries and injections of chemicals, among them a weakly radioactive isotope of barium, his bone had been reinforced with carbon fibers, and his muscles inflated by injections of steroids and HGH, among other things. No other information is available on the creation of this new human, but some is available on the aftermath of the experiments. See the laboratory log below. Interestingly enough, many of the papers relating to the Super Soldier project were torn as if by long claws, and several bore an odd green jelly-like substance at the edges of these rips. The substance has been since removed from the papers and is quarantined until further notice. The potent virus is by far the most detailed and methodical of the 3 documents. It closely details painstaking creation of an artificial virus meant to stimulate the production of a degenerative compound within human cells, thus rendering those infected limp and useless. Subject C, the 3rd prisoner, was the one that this virus was tested on. He at first displayed signs of weakness, but after repeated exposure to the virus, he seemed to become stronger and, as noted by one scientist, feral. Judging from these 3 documents, it can safely be reasoned that the first skeleton, bearing high levels of radiation and obvious signs of radiation exposure, was Subject A, and that the second, unnaturally large skeleton was Subject B. Further analysis of the bone has yet to occur, but if said analysis reveals carbon fibers, we will know for sure that the second skeleton was Subject B. Laboratory log. A log on the behavior of the 3 subjects was discovered beneath the details of the 3 experiments. Translated, it reads as follows. March 4th, 1944. Subject A displays extended apathy and illness even a week after the weapon project was cancelled. We hope that he does not continue this trend, as he may be made useful for other projects. Subject B seems to display an urge to wander the corridors. Twice now we have found him out of his containment cell, patrolling the corridors as if he were on guard. When asked to why he did this, his only response was that evil lurks the building. A new containment cell is currently under construction, one with reinforced doors. Subject C, on the other hand, moves frantically about his cell, muttering obscenities and other comments whenever someone enters. It has lately been noted that Subject C stares behind the researchers when they enter the room, and the analysis of recordings has shown that many of his comments are about a nameless evil. Could this evil be related to the one perceived by Subject B? March 31st, 1944. Subject A still shows no sign of interest in the world around him, instead constantly muttering about the strange feelings he has been experiencing. It has been decided that further observation of Subject A should not be written down unless said subject were to display an unusual action or characteristic. Subject A's strange feelings are probably due to radiation exposure, not the evil that the other two subjects felt. This note has been added to deter the more occult-minded of those involved in the investigation from theorizing that this evil was affecting everyone. Signed, General Jensen. Subject B has not managed to escape his cell ever since being moved to the new cell, and we hope that he stops thinking about this evil, as his misgivings about certain areas of the laboratory are beginning to interfere with our research. Subject C, however, seems to be growing wilder by the day. His fingernails, no matter how much they are trimmed off, seem to be growing back, longer and sharper, almost becoming extensions of his fingers. No more significant entries, that is, entries not detailing the same things as this one, appear until May. May 16th, 1944. Subject A has begun to walk around his containment cell without stopping. He mutters endlessly of something watching him during the night from Subject C's cell. After half an hour, his legs will collapse from overuse. Apparently, the weapon we used on him did something after all. We are doing our best to prevent him from moving too much. Oh, now they realize their particle beam thing was actually detrimental to the health of Subject A. Signed, Colonel Harrier. Subject B has not stopped his habit of avoiding certain areas of the lab, and we have been forced to reroute the path we take from his cell to the testing area to avoid areas that he will not go into. Subject C, however, has changed frighteningly. His skin tone seems to have darkened terribly, and his saliva has taken on a strange greenish tint. We hope the virus isn't responsible for this, but if it is, it should not be replicated. The green stuff on the papers about Subject B was probably some of this spit. Signed, Colonel Harrier. The scientists are beginning to become aware of the effects of their experiments, but by now is almost too late. An audio tape detailing what is to be the last report of the lab's run. Apparently meant to be a routine report, the audio tape was to become a crucial piece in our investigation, revealing what happened to the lab's residents. It was found with 3 close-set gouge marks, as if something tried to destroy it, but was apparently unaware of the tape's durability. The translation transcription is as follows. June 8th, 1944. We are canceling our experiments. Subject C has become something inhuman, and we do not believe it is entirely because of our virus. The evil he was muttering about before, it seems to be manifesting itself in him. The scientist's voice begins to waver from its monotony here. He is to be terminated this evening. There's a crashing noise in the distance. What was that? Several minutes of the recording are silent, apart from footsteps on metal and distant shouts. Oh God. Oh God, Subject C has escaped. A second crash is heard. And footsteps. The sounds of fighting are heard along with gunfire before several men scream and a loud clang is heard. Subject A is dead. His throat is out. There's a shout of alarm. This may be our last recording. Subject C has escaped as well. He's running towards us, but he is now attacking Subject C. More gunfire is heard. A loud, very deep shout is heard, saying something like his only weaknesses, before being cut off by a loud scream, evidently from Subject C. Oh God, save yourselves. Come on, run. More footsteps, then a loud bellow and a splattering noise, and the tape ends. Our interpretation is as follows. Subject C escaped and killed Subject A before turning on the researchers and guards. Subject B broke free from his containment, attempting to save the guards and researchers by attacking Subject C. Apparently, Subject B understood the weakness of Subject C, but was cut off by Subject C's scream. Audio analysis has been unable to. The researcher recording fled the scene, and apparently wrote the note found attached to the underside of the tape before filing away the documents. It is believed that the splattering noise came from Subject B's blood as Subject C slashed at him. The researcher appears to have attempted to document everything he could, and his contributions may prove valuable. A small notebook taped to the underside of the audio tape transcribed above. It reads, 1304 June 8th, Subject C has escaped, possessed by a demon. No. Fuck the people calling me superstitious idiot. That's the only thing it can be. Subject B seems to be the only one who has any effect on Subject C so far. Our bullets have been useless. Most of the guards have been slain. General Ritter is visiting tomorrow. Subject C, or whatever the hell the thing is now, has retired to some tunnel in the basement. The surviving guard, 2 researchers, and I are going to attempt to hitch a ride out of here. June 9th. General Ritter has arrived. We're going to see if we can get out. June 9th, an hour later. The thing came back out of its hiding place. General Ritter saved all of us by distracting it and running the other way. I hear it now. It's lost him. It's frustrated. I think he's running between rooms. I keep hearing doors. Perhaps he's trying to distract it. He told us to meet him under this very window in the vehicle once we get out, so that's what we'll do. That's the end of this note. I'm leaving this place. The notebook ends here. Nobody is sure how it became attached to the underside of the audio tape. Conclusions. We have since managed to piece together most of the story. The researchers tested 3 different types of ultimate weapon. One was a short-term failure, although it resulted in severe radiation sickness later on. The second resulted in a large being that seemed only to do good, including fighting evil for the sake of its captors. The third resulted in a demonic being that had once been human, immune to bullets, but not something else. The words of Subject B, drowned by the scream, sound like its name, which may mean that shouting out its name weakens it to those that shout it. This being, on June 8, 1944, escaped its confines and proceeded to kill everything it could. A vehicle brought over by General Ritter resulted in the salvation of several researchers and a guard from the building, although General Ritter met his own death there in saving the others. There are still several fuzzy parts. What is the green substance left on the papers about Subject B? Colonel Harrier believes it's Subject C's saliva, but why would saliva be on its claws? Why were the papers about Subject B destroyed? Could it be that Subject C didn't want anyone to replicate the experiment and uncover its weakness to Subject B's kind? Why did all the people killed directly by Subject C vanish and leave a blast mark where they had fallen? These questions remain unanswered.